Welcome to the Cougar Connection podcast. Today we are highlighting a new staff member in our new Teacher Spotlight series. I am Megan Hughes here with Mr. Gonzalez, who is a counselor here at Illini Central High School. Tell us a little bit about your family, where you're from, any hobbies that you have, and anything else you would like Illini Central to know about you.
Well, good morning.
Good
Pleasure
morning.
to be here. So I am Mr. Gonzalez. Grew up in Chicago. Um, in terms of family, came up in a small family. I'm the oldest of three. Both my parents, unfortunate, were with us the whole time as we were growing up. Hobbies. I'm an avid wrestling fan. I think some of the students who I've already have met, had the pleasure of already figuring that one out. I like to run, like to read, play some video games. I think some of the juniors knew that as well. I think we connected on Madden. I think that we're going to get along just fine. Other than that, I'm open to a bunch of different experiences. I'm a counselor here for only the second time at a new school. Originally, I was in a completely different industry, and so I finally made the transition to something that I really like.
That's really good. What attracted you to Illini Central?
They had a job posting. It was available, and I was open.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I also like the aspect of being able to work with both middle school students as well as high school students. While high school is my passion, being able to work with smaller children and helping them also kind of find their way. It's a completely different ballgame when working with middle school kids, but it's very rewarding, just as it is to see seniors graduate and find their way out into the real world.
Mm-hmm. What made you want to become a counselor?
That's a great question. I honestly didn't know I wanted to be a counselor. I didn't know what I wanted to do. My original intention was to be a lawyer. When I was in college, that was kind of like what I was gearing to. And my junior year, I took a semester abroad, and I really spent that year focusing on what I was doing, being very intentional with my process. And ultimately, I decided not to go into law school. I know all my friends were gearing up for it, and that didn't sit well with me just at the time. So I started working. I had some connections, and for years I wasn't comfortable with anything that I was really doing. Like, I liked my job. Don't get me wrong. I was really good at what I did. It was just never fulfilling. And the only time I honestly felt like I was doing something that made me happy was the time that I spent volunteering at my old high school, coincidentally working with young people. So I was directing one of their plays. I was their head coach for mock trial, and I'd been doing mock trial for 14 years. I was doing the play. I was probably in like year 4 of like 7 that I was there, and somebody told me you really would be good at being a school counselor. And so, honestly, I kind of avoided that calling for a while until I really got it to a spot that I thought made sense in my career where I had the time to be able to focus on myself again in school. Lo and behold, we had a pandemic in 2020, and it was honestly the best time to just start school, push through that, and here we are.
Great. What is your favorite thing about counseling here at IC?
I think it's just the conversations I get to have with students. You know, I could have a really, really hard day at the beginning, and then end with a really positive conversation. I know last week in particular, one conversation that I had at the very end of the day really kind of got me fired up about what that student wanted to do. And honestly, I had a lot of overlap because I actually knew a lot. It's not that I don't know a lot, but this one particular topic was something that I had a big passion for when I was in college. And so having the opportunity to talk about it again and really go in depth and see somebody kind of light up um, was wonderful because I also lit up, and I told them multiple times. I was like, I think you can see I'm very passionate about this. So it's days like that I really look forward to. And even some of the harder days. I've said this to students. I'll continue to tell the students, if there was a way for me to take, something off of you that will help lighten your load, even just sitting here and listening to you, because that's something that you need somebody to listen to you today, like, then let me do that for you. I feel that that's probably the most rewarding part of my day.
Um, what is something that you're excited to accomplish this year as a new counselor at IC?
I think there are a lot of things in my mind that I've wanted to do in my counseling career. And I think the opportunity to really kind of build something and build something sustainable is at the top of my list. I don't just want to create something that, you know, I can do. I want to create something that other people can just kind of take the ball and run with. Coming from corporate, the one thing I learned most is documentation and how important that is. And if I can make sure that I end this year having documented the majority of my processes, documenting and laying out exactly how we should do things, um, then next year will be significantly easier. And my goal is by the time you as a junior enter your senior year, you're ready come August to start applying to college. No questions asked. We've already gone through all the important information. I've already prepped you. You've already done your college visits, and then you can start in August. Start applying. For those students who don't have an interest in college, I want to build out more resources and have in-depth conversations on how we can support your transition into whatever you want to do, whether you want to start working or whether you want to go into the trades or whether you want to go into the military. I want to make it as seamless a process as possible. I don't think that that's what we have right now. I don't think we're in a bad position, but I think that we can be in a better position, and in a way make it as flawless as possible. Kids have a lot of things that you guys worry about, things that some teachers may not even be aware of. As a counselor, I get to hear that. So that I can better support you, I want to make that academic portion of your school career a little bit easier. We're already doing something great with Capstone, and I think we can just build upon that and just you know, make it perfect. And like I said, I want it to be so that if one day something happens where I'm not here for an extended period of time, knock on wood, that's not the case, but I had a supervisor who was out for 6 months. He started a new job and he was out for 6 months right at the beginning of the year, and he was the head of the department. So, people get sick, things happen. So I don't want that to be the case ever, and I want us to be prepared for that.
Yes. Now that you've been here counseling for a couple of weeks, what have you enjoyed about Atlanta Central?
I enjoy the community. I had a student just who started the other day who mentioned to me that they had students that were willing to show them around. That's unique to me. That's a beautiful community that exists here. The fact that myself, somebody who's new, even new to Mason City, can feel so welcome, um, and that we have that type of support that people are giving and willing to give. And it's not one of those like, oh, I volunteered because it's an expectation. It's like, no, I went out of my way to do it because I'm genuinely a person that cares and wants to do that. The fact that we have those type of students makes me super, super happy. And it's a place where you really can build something wonderful.
If you could give your students one piece of advice, what would it be? Just in life in general.
Ooh, always asking the hard hitting questions. One piece of advice: try. The hardest thing that you can do is try. But you'd be surprised how many things you will end up being good at. How many times you'll be good at something, and how many times you might not like something. And I think people are afraid to not want to like something. That's cool. You don't have to like everything. But if you try, you will know if you don't. And the more things that you try and the more things that you can eliminate that you say, no, I don't like that, that's I think when it comes to careers, I think that's wonderful. When it comes to education, I think that's wonderful. It comes to just things that you want to do or don't want to do, I think it's wonderful. Because at the end of the day, you can say, well, at minimum, I tried it. And you can have a lot of different experiences. And I think that type of, you know, I think having that type of mentality opens you up to more experiences in your life. And, there's a great big world outside of Mason, and I want everybody to feel comfortable if and when they get the opportunity to leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, very well said. Um, how do you like to wind down after a long school day?
Ooh. I generally go on some walks with my wife. That's generally super helpful. I like to unwind on YouTube. I watch a lot of theory channels. So I'm going to plug four: food theory, style theory, film theory, and game theory. All my theory channels. I think I got them all right. Um, Channels that honestly I think are educational as well as they are just entertaining. And then just kind of watching some really good trashy TV. So big into Love Is Blind. Currently watching Love Is Blind UK. Excited for the new season of Love Is Blind. I don't even know where they're going to be this season. I think this is season 7 already. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my like when I have a day, I do that. I'm gonna be great the next day.
Who you're really big on music. Who's your top artist on your playlist right now?
Blink 182, 100% all the time. It's always Blink 182. Um, I got to like I've had the opportunity to see Blink. I saw them when they first got their first reunion, and then I was able to see them this past year up in Chicago. They're fantastic. They're entertaining. I saw there was an article that was criticizing their performance at Lollapalooza, and I really felt like I think you missed the point. Not you, but the person who was watching because they said, "Oh, they're like a tired trope and their jokes are like not funny." And it's like they're not here to entertain you necessarily. There's this very specific crowd, myself included, who really enjoy their music. And I think really it's the music is starting to evolve in a way that I enjoy. Um, because they're really starting to look at, as artists, they're starting to look at their life in a way that I think I want to look at. As I get older, there are things in my life that I experience, and I want the music that I listen to also talk about and dive deeply into the things that are important to me and just life and progression. I think when they came back with their first new single, One More Time, and you watch the music video, it was a recap of their career. It was also just like how they had multiple things in their lives break them apart, and then how every single time they got back together, it was always through tragedy. The first one was Travis was in a plane accident. This last one was that Mark had cancer, and it's really bad. It's really hard that you can lose friends that you've known for years. And what it really means to kind of forgive and get back together and just kind of keep doing things. So I think right now their music has been the one that speaks to me the most, and it's where I am as I get older, and I'm starting to experience some of those things too.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on today and taking the time to sit down with me today. And make sure you look for the next Cougar Connection podcast coming to you soon.